Hello, people of YouTube.
Hello.
Last week we were a bit busy making our new floor,
It looks really nice.
so we did not get a chance to talk to you all, but we're here this week to talk about Disney World.
Or that.
Like the last video and the Disney Cruise Line Would You Rather, it's kind of like that. Instead of Would You Rather, it's you have to pick between these two things.
Mm-hmm.
So, alright, start off. Christian doesn't want to be here for this, so we'll read his answers.
Yep.
Fly or drive to Orlando?
So kind of like what we talked about with our Disney Cruise Line, this or that. Excuse me. Definitely prefer to drive just because of the cost. We won't beat that dead horse anymore.
Then we can have more stuff.
Yeah.
You never know what you're gonna need.
Yeah. Christian said he prefers to fly, but I think that's because it's a quick, it's a quick, hey, we're going to be on the plane for a few hours and then we're done, but...
He also told me the other day when we were talking about my upcoming trip that he likes the airplanes with TVs in the back of the seats and games so he can watch stuff and play games on the plane.
Yeah.
I also prefer to drive for reasons we've already discussed.
Yeah.
So, stay at a moderate or value resort?
Personally, for us, value, just because we aren't in the room as much, so why pay for the extra? I don't really know what you get at a moderate. I mean, it's closer to the parks.
A water slide.
Oh, that's right. The pool has a water slide. We don't really get.
And
I
think moderate resorts have sit-down restaurants at all of them.
Either way, value resort is just as good for us. I mean,
we have stayed at moderate resorts. We've stayed at Caribbean Beach in a pirate room.
Mm-hmm.
Throw a picture in there.
Yep.
And we have stayed just the two of us at Port Orleans, Riverside.
Yep. So
we have talked about staying at French Quarter on our next big trip, maybe.
That's what beignets. Yep.
But yeah, we'll see. So
like I said, value resorts are good, but are good for the fact that we just need somewhere to lay our head and keep our stuff. If we were going to be like doing a just be at the parks like we did for the Caribbean Beach, we were in between our land and sea, so it worked out for us because we weren't going to the parks. So
Christian said he prefers a value resort, Pop Century specifically.
Yep, Pop's a really good resort. We've stayed at it 2 times, and I like it. I really do.
I like it too. I will be staying there on my upcoming trip. It's not what I booked, but this will probably stay.
Yep.
I was originally supposed to stay at All Star Sports, and that will not be open. So.
Yeah.
Hey, we like Pop, and I knew when I booked that trip that I should have booked Pop to begin with. But now I'll be staying.
Yeah, Pop Century is a really good resort. It's spread out, but I mean
which is nice because it's not loud. You don't get the noise from like if you stay in a building near the main lobby area.
Yeah.
And we've been in the 80s and 90s, so we're
usually off in the back corner, so that's fine for us. We don't mind walking, get those extra steps in there.
Every step counts. Especially when you're going against that theme park food.
Yep. Definitely got to get a little bit of that.
Alright. Visit Magic Kingdom first or save it for last?
Now, Christian on this one said that he prefers to go to Magic Kingdom first day. He loves Goofy's roller coaster, the Barnstormer. He likes Mine Train as well. He likes roller coasters.
He likes Splash Mountain because he was able to go on that the last trip we took to Magic Kingdom.
I think that's one of the reasons that he really likes it. I prefer to save the best for last and end our trips on a high note. So I said that I prefer to leave Magic Kingdom for last. It's super fun, but I know some people have talked about park hopping and doing 4 parks in one day. I don't think that's really feasible with Magic Kingdom. There's just so much to do, and now you really can't do that because of the park pass
You pick
situation.
one park and that's where you're at.
Yep.
But that's what we like
We
to do
normally do
anyway.
anyways, yeah.
We used to get park hoppers, and mostly when it was just us and when Christian was a baby.
And the only benefits of that was we could have our planned day at like Animal Kingdom and then say, oh, we want to go to Epcot for dinner.
Yeah.
And then we had that flexibility to do that. But I mean, over time, I think we've pretty much resigned ourselves to one park per day, and we don't have any problems with that.
Especially now that the last 2 trips we've taken have been shorter trips,
Mm-hmm.
because when Christian was little and our big family trip with most of my siblings, we were taking a 10-day trip.
Mm-hmm.
With that, you want to be able to, okay, we've done this park once or even twice already, so there's nothing left that I want to do. Let's go. It's really hot. Let's go get on Splash Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
With a 4-day trip, you want to spend all day at the park that you picked for that day because that's the one day you get there.
Yep. So, and like you were saying, depends on how long you're there. 10-day trips probably advantageous for a park hopper.
Yeah.
But again, then also depends on how we book our trips. Because if we book military salute tickets, those are inherently park hoppers. So we just usually never utilize them for that, but they're still cheaper because they're discounted through Disney as well as tax-free through the base. So
it's worth it.
Yeah.
Big savings.
Mm-hmm. It is.
So I like to save Magic Kingdom for last as well, which we don't. Sometimes we try to do it, but it really depends on who we're with.
Yeah.
And
either that or we do it like
doing.
the second to last day.
So I prefer to start with Epcot because it's my favorite park. And then end with Magic Kingdom. Normally, we've started the last 2 big family trips with Epcot.
Mm-hmm.
Just that's how it's worked out.
Yeah. I think it's because you don't need a whole lot of time. It's usually a travel day. So you get into the Florida area or Orlando area, and then you can spend time in the afternoon, evening time going to all the rides and such.
Yeah. So it really depends. Take the bus or drive to the parks.
So this one for me was kind of depends on the situation. Again, because we like to drive, we have the ability to drive our car because we do pay for parking at the resort. However, we do have the ability to park anywhere on Disney property without an additional fee. So it's kind of with the last trip that we took, we didn't have to. In order to get to Hollywood Studios when we wanted to, the buses weren't going to be running and the Skyliner wasn't going to be operating at that time. So we decided that it was advantageous for us to drive to the park. And I think in that situation, it's something that's beneficial to drive to the park. But then what we did was, after we were done with Hollywood Studios, I ended up taking Isabella in the car.
Because she was asleep.
Yeah, she was asleep. So I took her back to the resort in the car while you and Christian went on the Skyliner. So I think you can definitely kind of split the difference if like you need to take your car to get there when you I want them to have fun. So I'm usually the one that's like, hey, I'll take the car back. You guys do what you need to do and get back on Funway because
we still got back faster than you.
Yeah, you did.
And we even walked around Art of Animation.
I don't remember how that happened.
I don't know, but you had to walk out to the car, and we were right there.
I had to walk to the car. I had to load Isabella, and then I had to load all this stuff because I had my new lightsaber that I made.
That's true.
And so I had to kind of finagle stuff around there. But yeah, if I don't need the car, then taking Disney transportation or the bus is always advantageous because you don't have to worry about it. I don't have to keep a set of keys in my pocket. But again, if you need it to support an event, then it's super easy.
Yeah. Christian said take the bus. Plain and simple. His answer was bus. I prefer to take the bus too. I mean, it's free transportation between the parks, unless something like Hollywood Studios where driving was to our advantage.
Mm-hmm.
There's sometimes that, you know, before we were driving to Disney World, that it was you either take the transportation allotted to you or you paid for an Uber or something.
Yeah. Excuse me. And that was one of the really big things that I remember we kind of weighed our options when we had early morning dining reservations.
We never got there.
Yeah, we never missed any of them. But, I mean, it was definitely kind of a thing that we had to think about for a minute and go, okay, what time does the bus leave? What time does transportation start? And then Ubers, we would have had to take in Christian's car seat in order to utilize an Uber. So I think that driving, it makes everything a lot easier. You have that option, and you've got, again, all of your stuff with you. So.
Yeah.
This next one we've kind of already hit on.
Yeah.
It's pick park hop or stick to one park per day. Christian said that he likes to park hop, and then Miriya and I talked about how we like to pick, especially now, pick one park per day because we are taking those shorter trips.
Yeah.
But again, like I mentioned, our military salute tickets.
If we wanted
to park hop, we have that ability. But then again, when we're traveling with family, park hoppers are more expensive, and we aren't going to tell family, hey, you have to get park hoppers.
Yeah.
So we're just glad that we're having that fun experience with them. They're able to see the kids and go on rides with them at the happiest place on earth.
All right. So the next one, breakfast at the resort food court or character breakfast.
Now, Christian said at the resort, but I don't think we explained about the Chip and Dale breakfast in Epcot.
He remembers that. I think because we did it for dinner last time.
Yeah, I like the potato barrels. That's my favorite. For me, I prefer character breakfast just because they're normally a buffet or family style food, so you get your bang for your buck. But we also do the dining plan, so that's a really big factor as well when you're thinking about, am I going to eat at the resort or do a character breakfast? If I have the dining plan, character breakfast all day, every day. If I don't, then I might get something from the resort or bring it. So,
I like both. It really depends on what park we're doing that day. Like Magic Kingdom, an early character breakfast, like before the park opens up. That way you're there in low crowds when it first opens is good. But you know, on a day where we want to be there for rope drop, we want to get in and get going. Resort, because we can just grab something, you know, when not right now, but when you know, the dining plan is a thing again and regular trip stuff is happening, use a snack credit to grab like a pastry or something and you know, eat it there, because even if we get up late. I get up early and go for a run, but you know, by the time we're at the food court at 7:30, meeting with people if we're there with family and get going. So
and I like the fact that if you get like a cinnamon roll, they have the microwaves in the food court. That way you can heat up your cinnamon roll. Really, really good. The next question is arrive for rope drop or arrive later. Again, because this is this or that, it really, for me, it depends on what we're doing that day. If we're doing Animal Kingdom, not a whole lot to do. The only reason you really need to get there at rope drop is to get on like Flight of Passage or any of the bigger items. But I don't mind getting there at rope drop. It's just on Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios days, absolutely rope drop before rope drop. That way you can get in there, get those higher weight items done, like the new Mickey and Minnie. That might.
Yeah, I'm not going right towards that. I looked 15 minutes after the park opened this morning, and it had a 80-minute wait.
You gotta run fast.
I'll go later in the day.
You gotta run fast.
Christian said right when it opens, and I as well prefer rope drop. That way, just like I said, I get up early, so sitting around the resort killing time really isn't my thing. I don't know.
Relaxing isn't your thing, though.
I'm not very good at it.
That's why we're so confused on cruises when we drop the kids off and we're like,
we don't know what to do.
What do we do?
We don't know what to do. Dole Whip or Dole Whip float.
So for me, I said Dole. And the reason behind that is you get more ice cream with it. It's the same container, just with a float. You get half the ice cream and then you get pineapple juice. On a hot day, your Dole Whip will turn into a Dole Whip float. So,
What's up?
what you got?
Christian said Dole Whip, and I said both. Like at the same time.
Your tablet.
Your tablet's dead? No, it's not.
No, it's not. Oh, it got logged out. There you
go. Cinnamon roll from Gaston's, or ice cream cookie sandwich from the Plaza ice cream parlor.
I am a sucker for a good cinnamon roll, and I think Gaston's definitely has a good cinnamon roll. But the ice cream cookie sandwich was definitely good, and that was actually Christian's choice as well.
I don't know what you meant.
Let me restart it, okay?
I like them both. I am a sucker for ice cream though. I think if you could get a cinnamon roll and cut it in half and get ice cream from like Storybook Treats and make an ice cream sandwich with the cinnamon roll, that would be epic.
Oh, that would be really good, wouldn't it? Yeah. Alright, and we are back. Sorry about that. Isabella decided it was time for a nap. So now we can continue on in peace with only the big one playing on his tablet. I think he's playing Pup Dog Pals. But that's okay. Getting back to it. There we are. So, Pirates of the Caribbean or Jungle Cruise. Now, while Jungle Cruise is extremely entertaining, you do get to see the seventh wonder of the world, or eighth wonder of the world, the backside of water. And they do have hilarious jokes and skits that they go through, the skippers do. I prefer Pirates of the Caribbean. It's an oldie but goodie, really fun. It's also nice and cool indoors, so that's on a hot Florida day. I prefer Pirates of the Caribbean.
Christian said Pirates of the Caribbean, and I agree, Pirates of the Caribbean. When I was a kid and took our first trip, Pirates of the Caribbean was my favorite. Took a couple of trips, and then Splash Mountain took over.
Yeah, Splash Mountain definitely. But we aren't comparing Jungle Cruise or Splash Mountain. So, but we will compare Splash Mountain or Big Thunder Mountain. Now, like Miriya said, it's her favorite. So, Splash Mountain. I prefer Splash Mountain because I don't know why. I know I have enough clearance, but whenever you go up on Big Thunder Mountain and you're whipping around in the mountain, I'm afraid to put my hands up because I'm afraid that if I put my hands up, I'm going to hit something.
It is a lot closer at Disneyland.
It is, and I grew up in California, so that's the memories that I have, whipping around in the closer confined areas. But I do too like Splash Mountain over Big Thunder Mountain. Now, obviously, with the changes, we are going to see Splash Mountain transition to a more Tiana-themed ride. So, Miriya, hopefully you'll be able to...
I don't think I'm gonna dislike it or that it's gonna change because I like the get out of the sun, cool off aspect of it. So.
Yeah, and everybody likes to laugh at place, so hopefully that kind of theme goes along with it. I imagine more of a voodoo vibe down there with Dr. Basilier. I was going to say Basilier, but that's okay.
We'll see what happens.
And Christian chose Splash Mountain as well. Watch the parade or ride rides during the parade. I prefer to ride rides, and the reason for that is a lot of people tend to watch the parade, so that means that lines are typically shorter. But also compared to that, if you want a good spot so you can see, you're going to have to get out of line and get to a spot at least 30 to 45, maybe even an hour.
And there's already people there.
There's already people there, and then they change stuff where they're like, hey, we need you to back up a little bit. It's just a big old hassle.
We've definitely watched parades. We've watched parades at Disneyland and Disney World.
And since the kids are still relatively light, we prioritize them and like put them up on our shoulders. That way they can see stuff like that. That way they can see the parades. But I'd rather just go ride rides. I mean, that's the biggest portion of why we're there. So
Christian said ride rides, and I also prefer to ride rides just because there's a chance that there's slightly less people in line, and we don't have to go just sit and be bored while we wait for the parade to start.
Yeah, and I guess the negative side to that is sometimes getting around the park while there are parades going on is a pain in the butt. You got to go around the long way to get somewhere, so it can be a pain.
The only parade I would say overriding is the Boo-to-You.
Yeah, the Boo-to-You. Yeah, that's always a really good one. You get to see characters that you typically don't get to see.
And Headless Horseman.
And Headless Horseman. That's always a good experience. So, the next one is watch the fireworks from the main hub in front of Cinderella Castle or Sleeping Beauty Castle, depending on what coaster.
About Disney World.
True, but out in front of the castle or from somewhere else. Now, there was one trip where we were actually behind the castle.
We've done it behind the castle a couple times.
But either way, it was a lot less people. Yeah, you couldn't see the front of the castle, but you got to...
You can see the fireworks, because the fireworks are shot off from behind.
Mm-hmm.
So if you sit behind the carousel, there's like benches right by the bathrooms.
Mm-hmm.
If you sit there,
You've got a
you
really
just
good
look
vantage point.
up. You don't have... I didn't have to zoom in to take pictures at all of the fireworks or anything, you know.
Yeah.
You just move your head a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, and, you know, there's some in front of you, some behind you, and it's cool. So I like behind the castle, but I also like to be just on the Tomorrowland side of the bridge between the hub and Tomorrowland. Because that's a good spot too. It's in a unique perspective. But definitely, if you want to see Tinkerbell, you have to be in front of the castle. If you don't care about seeing Tinkerbell or seeing the projections and stuff, behind the castle is just as good.
Yeah.
So Christian, however, said the hub. I don't think he remembers being in there, because there's so many people in front of the castle, and you have to get there to get a spot as well. Another really cool place, though, was when we were eating dinner at Crystal Palace during the fireworks.
Yeah, we had a really good view of it. That's always a good one. The next one is World Showcase in the afternoon or the evening time. I said evening time, but honestly, you can go really at any point and still.
Bad time.
No, there's really not. So I just prefer to walk around it in the evening time.
Christian said afternoon, so around when it opens. The only problem with that is depending on when you go, it can be really, really hot.
Yeah, it can.
But it's going to be hot in the other part of the park too, so it doesn't really matter. I prefer the evening. I like when the pavilions start to light up.
Yeah, that is a really good opportunity for pictures and stuff, so I can see that.
I like it.
Spaceship Earth when you first arrive or later on in the day. Now, I like to do it later in the day. And the reason for that is, again, Test Track usually has a pretty crazy line throughout the day. Soarin', all those things you got to go directly to if you don't have fast passes for. Spaceship Earth, because it is a continuous, unless someone's getting on or off the ride that is disabled, it's a continuous thing. So wait times honestly haven't been too crazy while we're there. I know they do get crazy,
they can.
But overall, I think later on in the day, that's one of the ones that like just keep tracking the app of how it's doing, and then go over when it's a little bit lower.
Christian said later in the day, and I agree, later in the day, because a lot of people, because it's the first thing right when you get in, go right to it. So early in the day, it has a greater chance of having a higher wait time than later in the day.
Definitely. This next one it was definitely hard, and I'm looking at your answer, and it explains it all really well here. Garden Grill.
You skipped one.
I did. Oops. Oh, dang it. I did. This one's even better. It's more of it's more difficult. More like I'm greedy. Or the chocolate caramel square from Germany. Both are very, very delicious. However, the school bread will always win. It's a staple whenever we go.
But you said only if you get the whole thing.
I mean, I'll eat half, but I'd rather have the whole thing to myself.
Yeah. I like both. They're both really good. Maybe get both. No. If I had to pick one, I'd go with school bread though, just because I can get chocolate and caramel pretty much anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
School bread is, get it there.
Yeah.
Christian said the chocolate caramel square just because I don't think he remembers the school bread because it's been a bit since we got it.
Yeah. Plus, what was it? October? I brought you back chocolate from Germany.
That's true.
I've been to Germany a couple times and brought you back
It's
chocolate
good.
both times. We've never been to Norway.
That's true.
See?
Maybe someday.
Maybe. Now I can go with it. Okay. So Garden Grill or Beer Garden. Again, looking at your answer, I completely agree. I said Beer Garden because, again, I love German food. I love schnitzel. I love all their breads, the salads that they have, the potatoes, just everything. Plus, I can get a liter of beer while I'm there and drink it during my meal. So it's always good. However, and I'll let you take over for Garden Grill's positive aspects.
I love German food. I do. My ancestors are German. I love German food. I love Beer Garden. However, I'm going to go with Garden Grill because it is my favorite character meal on property for a couple of reasons. One, you get to meet Farmer Mickey.
That's true. That's true.
You get to dine with Chip and Dale.
And Pluto.
The restaurant looks into the Living with the Land attraction, which is super cool. The restaurant slowly spins in a circle while you're eating. So normally, you'll end up about the same spot you started at. You'll make it all the way around during the course of a meal. And the food is quite good. At breakfast, they've got potato barrels and Mickey waffles with chocolate hazelnut sauce and all kinds of yumminess. And then, not this last trip because we only went to Hollywood Studios, but last year we ate dinner and there was stuffing and roast meats and mac and cheese for the kids, and the kids had cupcakes, and there was a berry shortcake thing that
was delicious.
So good.
Another thing that I really like about Garden Grill is that for dinner they serve a fish dish, and most of the time, and as along with the vegetables, that stuff is all grown in that pavilion. So I think it's really cool to eat the food that's actually grown there, and actually that garden area actually supplies some of the restaurants. Not all of it, because that'd be ridiculous, but it does feed into some of the restaurants around Disney property, but specifically for Garden Grill. So I think we had tilapia the last time we were there. We had it one time, but going through Living with the Land, you actually see their fish farm where they have tilapia, all kinds of crazy stuff. Yeah. So that's really cool. That's one of the things I like about it.
Now keep in mind, everything we're talking about, this is before coronavirus. This is not what's currently happening. Yeah. So this is past experience, and in the future, once it's all over, experiences hopefully as well. So Christian went with Garden Grill because he likes to eat with Chip and Dale.
He does. He absolutely loves Chip and Dale. He loves their Nutty Tales on Disney Plus. He really loves.
He loves those two chipmunks.
Pluto as well.
Yeah. Who doesn't though?
That's true. That's true.
Right.
The next one, kind of playing off of our Garden Grill aspect, Grand Fiesta Tour in the Mexico Pavilion or Living with the Land. Now Christian, because he loves Donald Duck, again, went with what he calls the Donald Duck boat ride. Every time we go there, we go on it at least 2 to 3 times while we're at Epcot.
He likes it. It's a fun ride.
It is, and again, we talked about it being in air conditioning, it being cool, so, and it also, the queue for it is completely inside because it's in the pyramid.
Yeah, and it's normally a really short line.
Yeah,
I don't think a lot of people actually know it's in there.
Yeah.
So
you get to see people that are eating at the restaurant there.
Which is cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. And if you're eating at the restaurant, you can see the Grand Fiesta Tour boats going as well. So.
And while you're in the Mexico Pavilion, take a look at the shops. Sometimes they're blowing glass in there.
Mm-hmm. They've got a lot of cool things. I said, living with the land, I like seeing all the cool advances in agricultural science that they have. They actually take you past one of their labs that they have. I just think it's really cool. It's really fun. And again, it's mostly indoors, but it also has outdoor aspects. When you go into the outdoor, you
gotta put your sunglasses on.
Yeah. So that's why I like living with the land.
Yeah, I went with living with the land as well because of the greenhouse aspect. But Grand Fiesta Tour is a lot of fun as well. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. No. It was literally a toss-up between the two. They're both really great.
They're both good rides.
This next one was...
It was kind of a wash.
Yeah, it was unanimous from us. Test Track or Mission Space. Now, there's pros and cons to both. We take the non-inverted Mission Space.
It's because you wouldn't
I wouldn't feel too good after doing all the flippity-floppities, and Christian wouldn't like it either. But it does have usually a lower weight for the green experience. But we all chose Test Track.
Yeah.
I think that has to do with it's just really fun, and we usually try and get a fast pass so that one of us can go on with Christian, and then the other person will just single rider it. But it's so much fun, especially when you get out and you actually take it up to speed. That's always a fun time. But a disadvantage with that is if it starts raining, they have to shut it down.
Christian likes Test Track, again, not this last trip, but a year ago, well, a year and a half ago almost now, when Christian was finally tall enough for all these rides, Splash Mountain, Mission Space, Test Track, that, 40-inch height requirement. He was so excited because he'd been waiting for so long to ride Test Track. He was finally tall enough, and...
I think it also simulates a roller coaster, so you get that kind of, during the maneuvers test, you get the whipping of the roller coaster, but then you get up to speed, and you just get the wind in your hair, and it's super fun. I think that's why he likes it.
He also enjoyed building the car.
That's true. He did enjoy the car build, and then some of the playing with it afterwards, once you get off the ride, was also kind of fun for him.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to think, though, that he was over the 40-inch height requirement, but now he's about to hit the 48. Slow down. Okay, next one. Rise of the Resistance or Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run?
Hands down, Rise of the Resistance for me. It was a super fun ride, super engaging ride. I thought it was really interesting going through the different parts of it. And yeah, just awesome ride.
The details.
Yeah, not saying that Smuggler's Run wasn't fun. Christian and I were gunners when we were on Smuggler's Run, but just so much detail, so much fun.
Well, there's detail in Smuggler's Run.
Yes, but hands down, Rise of the Resistance. Christian chose Smuggler's Run. He really liked being a gunner.
I think I just like being on Millennium Falcon.
I think he did too. Oh, you didn't like being a gunner?
Did you like being on the Millennium Falcon?
Yes, I want to be a pilot.
Maybe next time.
Yep.
The people who were a pilot were probably terrible pilots.
They were terrible pilots. Well, we landed okay, so I guess that's a good thing.
And I would be a...
Why don't you come over here?
Come talk.
Oh, okay. You don't.
I went with Rise of the Resistance because I just enjoyed the ride more. It's longer. The detail in it is super cool.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed Smuggler's Run, but because I went through the single rider line, I didn't get to see all the detail. I didn't get to see Hondo. I didn't get to see into the like over out into the Millennium Falcon. I went right to where you're given your assignment, so that was for me. But then it was kind of just like mission space, but in the Millennium Falcon. That's kind of what it was like for me. So as a Star Wars fan, I really enjoyed Rise of the Resistance because it was being part of the Resistance. It was fun. I liked it.
Next question is ride Tower of Terror or pass? Now, I don't have a problem with drops. I have a problem with not knowing that the drops are coming. And because every ride on Tower of Terror is different, I'm not a fan. I've ridden it before, but like I said, because I can't see that it's coming, I just don't prefer it. If Christian and Isabella were like, "Hey, I want to go on it," I would go, but
I'll just take both of them.
You could, but I would go. I wouldn't like it necessarily. But I would do it.
Now, Christian said pass. He's been on it once. Okay, if you go back to our Hollywood Studios day from February, he went on it for his first time. He said it was fun but kind of scary, and that's the whole ride. He enjoyed it, but if it came down to it, he'd pass. As for my answer, did you see my shirt? I like it, so I will ride it.
Yeah. This next one is kind of it depends kind of thing, more so leaning towards one than the other. Carrot cake cookie or a num num cookie. Now, for pretty much all of us, it was num num cookie. It's a giant chocolate chip cookie, nice.
Put a picture.
Yeah, we'll put a picture in there. It's gooey in the center. It's warm. It's delicious.
It's a big cookie.
It really is. Now, the caveat with that is, if you would have asked me 4 years ago, when it was still at starring roles, the carrot cake cookie from there was
Ryder Stop.
Ryder Stop. That's right. The carrot cake cookie was bigger and there was more cream cheese icing. And
it was like the cookie was thinner and so it was wider and there was more icing. The last time we got it,
from Starbucks
was trolley car.
Yeah.
The last time we got it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago? No.
I don't remember. We got it. We got
it on this last trip. Anyway, the last big trip. We got it, and the cookie is thicker and smaller, and there's less icing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as good.
It wasn't as good. Getting it from Ryder Stop was a lot better. So that was why.
Well, even after Ryder Stop closed, when they moved it to Sweet Spells, it was still the same cookie, and it was still really good. So that version, Sweet Spells or Ryder Stop, I would have went with.
Yep, 100%.
But when Sweet Spells closed to become the Pixar store, and it moved to Starbucks.
Yeah, something happened, and it's not as good. So the Num Num cookie was a lot better.
I mean, you went and got the Num Num cookie while Christian and I were on Tower of Terror, and we got back, and it was still warm.
It was. So, it was absolutely still delicious.
That's a good cookie.
Yep. This next one's kind of interesting. It's Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater or Primetime Cafe to eat at. Now, Christian said he wanted both. They're both really good. They really are. If I had to choose, I would go with 50s Primetime. Reason being is I prefer the food there over Sci-Fi, but I prefer the atmosphere at Sci-Fi. The whole theme behind 50s Primetime, where the waiters and waitresses tell you to eat your vegetables. They kind of play mom to you. It's fine. It really is. But I prefer watching the old sci-fi movies up
and
on
eating
the
in a
drive-thru.
car.
Yeah, and eating in a car. It is a little hard to see, but I mean,
Please see your food.
Yeah, it's not too bad, but like I said, I prefer the food at 50s, but I prefer the atmosphere of sci-fi.
I went with sci-fi. I enjoy 50s. The food's really good, but the last time we ate there, we were on a lower dining plan, so no appetizer. And I really like the onion rings at 50s, so it wasn't as, I don't know. I like it. It's not as good, I don't think. I went with 50s with sci-fi mostly because I like the atmosphere of eating at a drive-in. I miss the drive-in. I like the burgers. I like the milkshakes. So,
yeah.
And you don't have to share. The bathroom isn't shared between two restaurants there.
That's
because
true.
at 50s it's shared with Hollywood and Vine.
Yeah, it is. I forgot about that. Now for the next one, I haven't personally been to Animal Kingdom when Pandora's been open at night. So it's Pandora during the day or at night. I haven't been there at night, but I have seen pictures from when Miriya went with
Put a couple in.
went with her family, but I had to work, so it looks looks really nice.
I mean, it's cool during the day, but
the lighting in the sidewalk is really cool. So I think that would be really fun to see at night.
Yeah, Christian, he's been there at night-ish. He kind of left.
Yeah.
But he picked at night, and I picked at night. Pandora is beautiful day or night, but it's cool to see it all lit up at night. I think they did a really good job with that.
Yeah, they did a really great job with Pandora, and then I think that transitioned over to Star Wars Land when it came over at Hollywood Studios. So, and then the next one is Kilimanjaro Safari in the morning or in the evening time. We all unanimously said evening time. I think the reasoning for that is the animals are a little bit more active at night as opposed to when they're just waking up in the morning. So I like it. It's really fun.
There's not a bad time to go on a safari though.
No.
You're gonna see. You can go on it 3 times in the same day, and you're not gonna see the same animals. You're not gonna see the same things. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it really is, and I think the differences between each ride is super fun. The animals that you get to see.
A couple of years ago, I guess it was 3 years ago now, when Christian and I went with my dad and sister, it was when Animal Kingdom was doing the stay open later thing, and they were doing the nighttime safari, which was super cool because we could see things that we didn't get to see when we went on during the day. You know, different animals were up and walking around because that's when they're awake. So it was cool to see.
The next one is Kali River Rapids or pass. Now, Christian said he would pass. I think that has to do with you get wet on it. He's not really one to get. You're guaranteed to get wet.
Yeah.
On.
I mean, he doesn't dislike it.
No.
But
I said definitely ride. It's a fun ride, especially if it's hot. If it's not hot though, because you are guaranteed to get a good amount of water. I'd probably pass if it was cooler out, but if it's hot day, oh yeah, you dry off really quick.
Yeah. I picked ride it. It's a fun ride. Especially if it's hot. It would have to be like 50 degrees probably for me to not ride it. Just fun. When we went the last trip before Christian was born, and we went on Cali before our Wild Africa trip, we were soaking wet because that's when they had just changed it to at the end
They have the elephants that's constantly spraying out.
So we were standing in line for the safari before our Wild Africa trek, and so someone was like, I think a water bottle spilled in your bag. I was like, no, that's just me dripping from being on the ride.
Yep. It was fun though.
Yeah.
And then the final question that we have is stay until park closing or leave early. Now we've said it a few times throughout, but For Christian, he said stay until the park closes. For me, it depends on the park. If it's Animal Kingdom and we've been there since rope drop, then we've probably done everything and we're probably ready to go at that point. And they don't have fireworks like the other parks do, so it's kind of a not really necessary to stay until park closing for me. So it depends on the park.
So Christian said stay until the park closes, but I think he's only been to a couple of parks lately until park closing, because we didn't stay at Hollywood Studios until it closed.
No, we didn't.
But we were there before, like an hour and a half before the park opened.
Yeah.
So, for me, it depends on the park. Animal Kingdom, it depends. Well, if Animal Kingdom is closing at 5 or 6, it's not hard to stay until the park's closed. Epcot, super easy to stay till 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Magic Kingdom, it depends on the park closing time. We've been there a couple times where it's closed at 7 or 8, and we've been there a couple of times where even without extra magic hours, the closing time isn't until 11 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
I have stayed at Magic Kingdom until 11 o'clock. Stayed actually slightly after because Cassie wanted to look in the store for something. And they don't, if you're looking in the shops, they can't make you leave. So it depends on the park.
Mm-hmm.
We've been to all the parks until closing. We've been there for the Kiss Goodnight, Cinderella's Castle. Been there for the everything at Epcot is done. Please get out.
Yes, please get out.
We've been there at Hollywood Studios technically after park closing
Mm-hmm.
for the end of Fantasmic or when Star Wars fireworks. So, it depends on the park.
Yeah, it depends on the park, depends on the day. There's a lot of variables, but yeah, it's hard.
So, that's our answers.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know what yours are. We'll put a blank without our answers.
Yeah, we'll put the questions
in the description, and
comment with your preferences and let us know what you think, right? And then, like always, if you have suggestions on what we should talk about next, please leave a comment, and we'll look into creating one of those videos.
Yeah. See you next week.
Bye.